Hold him. Now you listen to me, you hillbilly punk who thinks the world's still round. I'm here to tell you it's not. It's flat!
He's an interesting guy, man, and, you know, he believes it, so. Kyrie, the Earth is flat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, whatever.
The Earth is flat. That's news.
That's news. Here we go.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
The wicked ones obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
Broadcasting straight to you from a large spaceship, currently at war with the mainstream scientific community. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Strange World, where the truth is often stranger than fiction. I'm your host, Mark Sargent, the creator of Flat Earth Clues, which propose that all of us are living inside a Truman Show enclosed structure thousands of miles wide. Check it out at enclosedworld.com or just Google Flat Earth Clues. If you can't find it, well, then you are not very good at the internet. For those of you listening to this on YouTube and you want to hear the show live as it happens, please go to Truth Frequency Radio for the latest schedule. Currently, this show is on Tuesday nights at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. And if it is not January 2nd, 2018, the beginning of 2018, by the way, then this is a rerun, and you won't be able to do anything. For those of you listening and you were looking for something to do fun this spring, please check out Flat Earth Convention UK. You can go to flatearthconventionuk.co.uk. It's going to be April 27th, 28th, and 29th in London. Also, be sure to check out the Kyrie Irving Nike commercial, which is airing everywhere on mainstream television and the internet's all over the place, where he briefly mentions Flat Earth, but the fact that it's in a Nike commercial, fantastic. And Nike's totally backing him because he's winning and people love a winner. Also, Mad Mike, also known as the Rocket Man, will be doing his launch sometime before the NFL Super Bowl, from what I've been told. But we'll find out sooner or later. All other challenges have been suspended except for one, the Mark Sargent Flat Earth Challenge. This is my personal declaration of war from Flat Earth against mainstream science. I, Mark Sargent, hereby put forth a challenge to any university, foreign or domestic, to debate or discuss the Flat Earth reality. The short version is this: you fly me in, take care of my hotel, and I'll face down any scientific body you put against me. My only debate requirement is that you have someone with a master's degree in a physical science either participating in or supervising the event. Accept this challenge, and you will be treated with respect. If not, then you're just cowards hiding behind empty equations. Subject matter experts, we're always looking for them. If you are a subject matter expert and you want to chime in about Flat Earth, by all means, give me a call at 303-494-6631 or email me at msargent23 at comcast.net. That's MSARGENT 23 at comcast.net. People we've had so far United States Navy missile instructor, United States Air Force navigator, a Marine Corps sniper instructor, a Navy submarine chief, an Army artillery radar operator, an Australian intelligence officer, an American flight instructor, an industrial engineer specializing in valves and seals, a career surveyor of 32 years, an international shipping expert, a corporate travel agent, an air traffic controller, a United States Army master gunner, an aviation and ground training combat expert, a USDA surveyor of 27 years, a 32nd degree Mason, an etheric science researcher, commercial airline captain, commercial airline co-pilot, an industrial vacuum expert, and to round it off, a merchant marine. If you want to corroborate their stories or try to refute them, I still have yet to have anybody call me up and say, oh yeah, I'm from the Navy. I think they're full of crap. By all means, give me a call. We can do it pre-record. You can do it anonymously. We can do it live. It's completely up to you. I mean, granted, I will vet you, but anyway, moving on. Let's get to some emails, shall we? Because I have a whole bunch in front of me. This one's called Hello, Mark. Mark, I've watched so many of your videos. Absolutely love them. I'm beyond convinced the Earth is flat. I have a very good idea. I don't know if it's been done, but I've been playing around with the idea and watching the sky. So today I noticed a plane that had some condensation trails. I didn't spot it right away, so it was already in my line of sight for a while. Cruising speed was roughly 510 miles an hour. So I started my stopwatch. I'm watching the plane, looking at the flight tracker before I realize the plane is already 50 miles north or so. I'm like, okay, this is looking good. So I keep watching. My wife pulls up and I'm like, you see that plane over there? Yes, by this time flight tracker put it over Tampa, which is 100 miles or so north of us. I can still see the condensation trail. And this plane is still well above the horizon. So I say, you can see that plane. She says, yes. I say, it's over Tampa. She says, you wouldn't be able to see it. I said, correct. If the Earth was a globe, that's at least 80,000 feet of curvature. I said, the moon is 238,000 miles away. But if you can see that, she's still not awakened yet, alone, even able to have a conversation about it. I'm trying to find a way to get a Nikon P900, and I could do this all day. So anyway, I'm sorry about the lack of correct grammar in this email. That's okay. I'll let that slide for now. I get way too excited and just start rambling. I would love to be more involved in this movement. Any idea what I should do? Well, I look forward to hearing from you, especially any tips about the wife. Thank you, Chris. Well, Chris, regarding your wife, everybody has their own absorption period. Just give her time. You're not there to convince her. You're not even there to persuade her. All you're there to do is put the seed in her head and let it sit there like a marble in a paint can. And eventually, she will come around or not come around. Usually, if you're not going to come around, you get stuck in denial. But you never know. I have high hopes for her. Moving on. This one's called Flat Earth Coin Set Available. And it's from Andy. Mark, I was watching your show and saw the conference coins. I found them on eBay for $44 for the set and also on this website. And I was the first one to order them on eBay. So yeah, the website is called bluemoonbase.com. And that was from Andy D. in Connecticut. So if you guys want those two, and the commemorative coins, they're from 3 of them, and they come in a cool velvet box, or simulated velvet, whatever it is. And they're high quality coins. You can see the videos online on YouTube. There's great videos that Carly Sunshine did on them. And they're from 2015, 2016, and 2017. The 2018 coin, as you can imagine, has not been designed yet. So we're working on that one, and I'm sure that it'll be a 4-coin set instead of a 3-coin set. But it's very, very cool. I sent them out to quite a few people, and I think I've got 4 sets still sitting over there. Got to figure out what I'm going to do with those. I'm not going to sell them on eBay, though. All right, moving on. This one's called Dan the Waterman, The Turds Attacking You These Days. Oh, sounds inspiring. Mark, I could not help but respond to this crappy, slanderous YouTube video. I'm not going to click on it to see what it is. My posted response. What is your motivation to spread such lies? Give this guy a break. He means me, by the way. Let real science have some space to operate. Firstly, I'll tell everybody that I reached Mark by phone just last Tuesday, and we spoke for 10 to 15 minutes. I had personally asked him to stop some of the call-ins from the several Mark Sargent fans with nothing to say that call the radio show all the time. Second, everyone who cares knows he has been very busy traveling nationwide to events and speaking worldwide on radio and podcasts on behalf of a non-political, non-religious agenda to document the undeniable truths he has helped us to discover. He's got sick prior to the FEIC and has been busy uploading videos since. Imagine all of his daily researching, editing, legal mumbo-jumbo, and now personal attacks this guy goes through daily. An absolute gentleman. Mark, more than anyone on this stationary plane, actually answers and returns his calls and his emails, although maybe not mail so quickly. Mark is a caring man who deserves a lot of credit for standing tall in harm's way against all this kind of deceit and ridicule. Please note, Mark Sargent is not the focal point of the Flat Earth movement, and neither is the Flat Earth. This is all really about many messages of truth and how we can operate outside of the mainstream lies and still survive. Anybody who cares to look can see we do not live in a rotating sphere, or that we don't need to maintain a dependency for oil consumption or war as a way of life. Clearly, your mind is clouded with hatred. Just remember that in reality, Mark Sargent is not quiet. He's totally in your face. And he goes, aftermath, my reaction response showed me that while defending you, even though you don't need it, I had rallied the courage and felt an immediate need to express my opinions here. Thanks, Mark, for being a model for what we will in the future certainly label a true patriot. I wish you luck against all the oxygen to the brain-deprived mouth breathers holding their globes, their fears, and their misnomers. Dan the Waterman from California. And he included a picture of me when I was down at the Pasadena meetup. That's great. Thanks, Dan. That is much appreciated. This one is called Ruined by You. Damn you, Mark Sargent. I've been ruined. Was just listening on YouTube to Some Strange World number 65, you and the guy talking about science fiction, etc., and just realized something. I read a lot, mostly fiction, lots of crime, drama, and murder mysteries, cops, that kind of stuff. One of my favorite authors is Michael Connelly. He's got a new book out called Saturn Run, set in the year 2065. This is the first science fiction I've read in a long time, since before I started checking out Flat Earth. Reading along the whole time, my background mind is picking apart all the space travel and planets and gravity, wells, and yada, yada, yada. Like I said, you've ruined me. Thank you. Hope your convention was at least half as fun as it looks like on the YouTube clips. Sorry I missed it. I've still been waiting for some response to my first few emails, mister. Still want to grab a cup of coffee with you, if possible, the next time I'm in Seattle. Best regards, Steve Chandler. Thanks, Steve. And maybe you and I will have coffee one day. Hard to say. This one's called Flat Earth. Mark, I am just thinking, the Challenger had to be stopped with a teacher on board. None could say they didn't have it in mind. And that's from K. Joy Sandiford. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, the teacher in question, was she truly just an authentic teacher? Did she have military ties? Remember, most of the people that even claim they have been up in space are military, notably Air Force. So, was she just playing the teacher role? Was she an actual teacher? Hard to say. Don't take anything at face value. But yeah, if you're going to make the statement she was just an innocent teacher, and if that was the case, then they had to get rid of the mission. Yeah, maybe. But I don't think that it seems like there would have been a broader plan involved there. But that's just me. Oh, what's this one called? Film Major Real Movie Event Live. Don't know what that in. Okay, let's see where this is going. Hi, Mark. Cool Flat Earth video. Hoy state the are no movies. Okay. The person's name is Renko Mullen. So obviously not English first language. Hi, cool Flat Earth video. Hoy state the are no movies on actual moon events. Okay, but there is. In the James Bond movie, there's a fake moon set where they show James walking through they even had a moon car. The movie is, I believe, called Moonwalker. Okay, no, the James Bond. Okay, oh boy, the James Bond movie that was there's two. You know me, I love movies, and I can do. I'm not even looking this up. The James Bond movie that was set in space was called Moonraker, and that was done with, oh boy, and I've totally drawn a blank on who that was, but it was not Sean Connery. It was the one after Sean Connery. Roger Moore. Whew, geez, lost it for a second there. So that was with Roger Moore. Sean Connery, though, was in a movie called Diamonds Are Forever in 1972. And remember, all the James Bond films are British productions, and they were making fun of the moon set because he was running through a soundstage, and he actually ran through a fake moon soundstage, and it was priceless because as he was running through it, because the astronauts are pretending to walk in slow motion, they stayed in character, and they couldn't catch him because they were in slow motions. They were never ever going to catch him, and it was just cardboard, and it was just it was a horrible moon set, and I think that was the British film teams making fun. And I think all film production teams back then kind of saw what was going on, but who are they going to tell? Who are they going to go to? And they were saying, "Boy, this is terrible." Which is honestly why one of the other reasons why I believe that is, remember how Capricorn 1, the famous fake Mars mission movie starring James Brolin, which is Josh Brolin's father. That whole movie was an independent movie, and it was made because a CBS affiliate was so angry with the production value that was coming out of NASA. He didn't necessarily believe it was fake then, but he was going, look, I could make a better moon movie than this, or moon production. Heck, I can make a better Mars production than this. And so he went out and made Capricorn 1, which was, I think it was the highest grossing independent film of that year, which I believe, 78, maybe. So look it up if you get a chance. If you've not downloaded or ripped or gotten a copy, heck, you could probably buy a Capricorn 1 copy in a secondhand store for $1. Download and watch that movie. It totally will change the way you think about things, because it's really a testament to the moon missions. Because as you know, we still haven't gone to Mars, and nor will we ever go to Mars. So anyway, moving on. This next one's called Flat Earth. Hi, Mark. Thank you for sharing your research and thoughts regarding the geocentric cosmology and for making your contact information available to everyone. I suspect this email will be one of a vast number of emails you will receive on any given day, and should you have the time to respond to it, I would be most appreciative. Let me first say that I was quite accidentally exposed to the flat earth concept about 6 months ago when I saw a YouTube video in the sidebar of the page I was on while watching a totally unrelated video. Yeah, I get that. It piqued my interest, so I watched it. I then watched a second and third video, and within an hour's time, I effortlessly recognized the reality of our domed geocentric existence. I have a genius level IQ and have always been able to have independent thought about subjects, and yet I found it quite entertaining how quickly I was able to move away from heliocentrism. Of course, the nail in the coffin for me was the scriptures. I have been a lifelong ardent student and teacher of the scriptures, and I could immediately relate to the abundance of passages of scripture that are irrefutably geocentric. In fact, there is nothing in the scriptures that allows for the heliocentric mindset. My best friend is a longtime lover of astronomy and has used his own telescope to study the night skies for decades. We have had a multitude of conversations, and he has been able to check his reason at the door to explain away all of the obvious physical attributes of our plain Earth to appease his globe Earth belief. As you well know, requiring him to shuck the physical properties that rule absolutely everything when it is needed to support a spinning globe. For my friend, one of his anchors is the nonstop flight you can book from Johannesburg to Perth. That flight appears to exist and can be booked online. Have you ever looked into that nonstop flight? Is there something about that flight that is not as it seems online with flight booking services? Thanks again for your service to inquiring minds. If you have the time to respond to this email, I would greatly appreciate your thoughts. Sincerely, Dana McMichael, Austin, Texas. And yeah, Dana, when it comes to any flights, which is why I made Clue 9, I remember made Clue 7, which was the long haul, followed by Clue 9, after I went to Clue 8, of course. And Clue 9 was the magic show, which it's not that the flights can't be flown, it's that the routes cannot be proven, because when they get out over water, poof, They go away and never come back until they're just, until they come within radar range of the nearest landmass. So, and it's most noticeable in those three big oceans in the southern hemisphere: the South Atlantic, the South Pacific, and the Indian Ocean. In the northern hemisphere, you still get it. I mean, again, if you try to fly from California, or once you leave the coast of California, I don't care where you're flying from in the United States, once you leave the coast of California on your way to Hawaii, remember there's no islands between California and Hawaii. Once you get it past ground radar range, blink, they go away. So the routes cannot be proven. And I know that they'll say, oh, no, pilots know. They know where they are. No, they approximately know where they are. There's a big difference. All right, moving on. This one's called Southern Cross. Hi, Mark. My name is Todd Parker, and I've been looking in the flat Earth for almost 2 years now. I am convinced that the Earth is not a spinning ball, except for one reason that I can't wrap my brain around. How do people in New Zealand and Australia see a circular motion around the Southern Cross area? Wouldn't they just see stars moving in an east-west motion when they look south? Maybe you can point me to a site or something to help clear this up for me. Thanks for the help, Todd. And then Todd left his phone number. No, it's not a problem for me at all, because when it comes to the Southern Hemisphere, remember, this place is so big that you're going to have to use multiple projection systems. And if you're into the biblical stuff, start looking into the Book of Enoch and also the Book of Jasher. They're kind of related, but it's not hard to do. If the planetarium that you're living in, that's what we're talking about here, a big building, a big structure, a domed stadium, if it is big enough, you can get away with using multiple projection systems, or if you're a complex enough thinker, instanced, meaning you can project stuff based on region or based on individuals if you had to. Moving on. How much we got? We have enough for a couple more before the break. This one's called Interview with Roger Ver by Jimmy Song on Bitcoin Scaling. I don't know that. Yeah, this still has something to do with flat, believe it or not, even despite the title. Hello, Mark. Roger here, aka Bitcoin, aka Bitcoin. Jesus talks about flat Earth twice during this interview. First at 24 minutes, 20 seconds, world is flat. And again at the end of the interview, 1 hour, 9 minutes, 13 seconds, where he invites someone like you to do an interview or debate. I think you would be great talking to him because of your computer background. The two of you also share something in common. Roger has spent time in federal prison for selling firecrackers on eBay without a permit. I would love to hear your opinion on Bitcoin. Do you think Bitcoin Cash is the best form of cryptocurrency? Keep it flat, Tony from Denver. Okay. The guy he's talking about, I suppose his name is called Bitcoin Jesus. A couple things. One, I didn't go to prison for selling firecrackers on eBay. He and I, that is a very, very different thing. I was thrown, I got into some trouble because I was manufacturing firecrackers, explosives, and that sort of thing on campus when I was in university or at university. This guy just took, just firecrackers and started selling them on eBay. I don't know how in the world he started doing that, because where you get the problem there is with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, where you're mailing firecrackers across state lines. You absolutely cannot do that. That is a very, very regimented, registered procedure, and so no, we do not share anything there. As far as us doing computer background stuff, I don't know. Let me address Bitcoin real quick. For those of you who don't know what Bitcoin is, I don't want to get into the exact details. It'll just bore you. You're going to go to sleep. It's an electronic currency. It has no physical medium. It's not. You might as well be buying swords in Warcraft. It's that sort of thing where you're not actually buying anything physical. You're buying packages of data. That's what you're doing. And these packages take a while to build, and time is money. That's the big thing. Time is money. Oh, remember that. If you want to know anything about economics, remember this one thing. Time is money. And so Bitcoin used to be, if you want to look up something really interesting about Bitcoin, look up, because I was there. I had friends. I had some dark and twisted friends back in the day. People hear about the deep web and the dark internet. No, there was. For a brief span, there was a dark internet, and it was tied directly to Bitcoin. Bitcoin on its own wasn't nothing. The only reason Bitcoin even came about is because criminals had to come up with a currency that they could exchange between each other that couldn't be tracked. And you want to know what it was tied to. It was tied to something. Look this up if you get a chance. Type in under a search engine, type in Bitcoin and Silk Road. Silk Road was like eBay for criminals. It started out, I don't even say it started out innocent. I mean, it always sold drugs. I'm pretty sure you could buy machine guns and all, just about anything bad you could ever think of. You couldn't buy child porn or anything. Although why they stopped, I have no idea. Because it was no frills. Because you had a currency that couldn't be tracked from site to site. If I had Bitcoin and you had Bitcoin, we could sell each other anything we wanted on this site, and no one could trace it. As long as you kept things about as anonymous as possible, the currency couldn't be tracked. And so Silk Road is really what built up Bitcoin, because people were grabbing Bitcoin because they could buy all these horrible, horrible things on Silk Road. And then Silk Road finally got shut down because it was an evil, horrible place. I mean, seriously, it might as well have been run by the supervillains. It was awful. So it's still kind of used like that, and I know people are hyping it up, and there's a lot of speculation around it. But Bitcoin, I wouldn't invest in it. I wouldn't, because I've seen it, because it resides in the world of developers, in the world of computers, and in the world of computers, it's even more sinister. It's a pit of vipers. People look up how many stories about how Bitcoin exchanges have been brought down, mostly by the people who have been running it. Or the organized crime gets involved, and it turns ugly in a hurry. And so, even though you may have a lot of money tied up into Bitcoin, boy, anyone that's in Bitcoin has got to be looking over their shoulder every 2 seconds. That's my opinion on it, anyway. From what I've seen over the last few years, or however long this thing has been going, everybody that's been in Bitcoin has always been a little jittery because they're afraid of losing it all, because you just don't know. It all started because Bitcoin was born out of criminal activity because of Silk Road. So that's my take on it. We'll come back from the break here in just a few minutes, and we'll take care of a couple of emails and ask me anything you want. It doesn't necessarily have to be about Flat Earth, although I like Flat Earth questions. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
No hate, no hype, no fear. Real people, real radio.
Welcome back to Strange World, Part 2 of 4. I'm your host, Mark Sargent, and we're doing Mailbag at the beginning of the year. Remember, this is January 2nd, 2018, 363 days to go. We'll see what happens this year. I think it's going to be a big one for Flat Earth, personally. This email is called, What About Temperatures at the Outer Edge, otherwise known as the Antarctic area? Hi, Mark. I am intrigued by your videos and have to admit that some of the clues related to Flat Earth have me asking questions for sure. I started checking the temperatures of those countries closest to the outer edge, such as the Falkland Islands, and they appear to be much warmer all year around than one would expect to find, considering their proximity to the Antarctic. I was using the Gleason's map It's hard to believe that the weather could be so different. Your videos are impressive, and the fact that surveyors and pilots throw out Earth's curvature when calculating things that one would expect it to be necessary. Thanks, Doug. Doug Scheidt, Scheidt. Thank you, Doug. And yeah, when it comes to the temperatures, honestly, I don't really trust any of the data that comes from the outer rim, because they're going to have to match it up as best they can with the globe model, the heliocentric model, the sphere, the ball, and they don't. It's all a farce. It's all a joke. Moving on. This one's called Survival Guide, Please. Mark, thanks for waking me up. Cheers, Vince. Yep, I get these every single week, and I don't mind. I don't mind at all. I've got it literally sitting on my desktop. It's called Empty Shelves. So if you want a free 100-page survival guide in PDF format, all you have to do is email me and send the email to msargent23@comcast.net and do what he did. You just put it somewhere in the title. Say, hey, survival guide, I want it. And that's great. And I'll just shoot it off to you. It's only 2 megs, and it can be sent through your email. It's got pictures and funny stories, and it's kind of a little end of the world prep guide. I designed it after the Katrina event. So after Katrina, you want to know real quick, some of you already know this, the reason why I made the survival guide was because after Katrina happened, most of the city, had to evacuate. They left, and only half of those people that left even came back to New Orleans. The rest, relocated in other places. But out of all those people that came back, was it 7 or 8 out of 10? I think it was like 7, between 7 or 8 out of 10, still didn't prep. Yeah, so you're relocated. You're sent packing during the middle of this storm, right? You come back and you still won't buy food and bottled water, some flashlights. I'm not even telling you to buy guns. I'm just telling you to prep with something. Just spend $50. Put it in a plastic container. Put it in a corner of a room or a basement, out of your way. You never even have to think about it again. And I know people are lazy, but that's why I wrote it. I was like, come on, this is what that manual's for. So that even if, and I even designed it for people that still didn't prep. It's like, okay, fine. You still haven't prepped. Read through this manual, the 110 pages, you at least will have some sort of head start on your neighbors. I just got this funny feeling. We see all the movies when something bad happens. It's not, and the manual is not designed, by the way, for any one particular event like zombies or locusts or aliens or anything like that. It's designed for just a long-term power outage, because that's really what it comes down to, is the long-term power outage. Because once that happens, once that system breaks down, the rest, it just domino effect. And so if you have this, of course, I send it to people, and then now I'm when I send it to them, I try to remind them, look, if you get the manual, print out a copy. Don't be stuck like a putz with your phone, when the power goes out and you're reading through the manual before the power on your phone goes out. It's like, well, I can charge it in my car. It's like, come on, you know what I mean? Print out a hard copy. It's only 100 pages. That's 50 pages double-sided. It's not that long. Just saying. In fact, I did that for my family. I printed out multiple copies, and I sent it to them so they would not have an excuse. That way I could do the ultimate I told you so. If something was to happen, it's like, oh, well, zombies ate Fred and, all these people. It's like, did you get the manual? Yeah, we did. What'd you do? Oh, we put it in the attic, or we lined our hamster cage with it or whatever. It's like, I told you so. Anyway, moving on. This one's called Question for the World Outside the Dome. Hey, Mark, Joe here. Do you think that outside this dome there is an Elysium-themed world of opulence, like in Matt Damon's movie Elysium? Nice. See the word redundant. The likes of which is beyond our comprehension. Do you think the citizens outside the dome walk on gold? For Jesus said, in my Father's house are many mansions. And Catherine Austin Fitts, Fitts, once said that the earth is a part of a much larger corporation. Yeah, that's exactly what I think. I think that outside of this very conflicted world, this world is perfect conflict, is an unlimited universe. So yeah, they probably do walk on gold, and everything's super shiny and super bright, and nobody ages and nobody gets tired. In fact, there's a lot of things that they can do that we can't. Absolutely. And that quote, by the way, my father's house are many mansions. Yeah. Yeah. This is not a one-off. Not by any stretch. You are here for a very deliberate reason, to learn perspective. That's it. That's the main thing, because you cannot appreciate an unlimited universe without a completely limited one that's built on conflict. Think about it. Doesn't matter. Think about anyone you idolize or anyone you have idolized growing up. And that means, it doesn't matter how beautiful you are, how talented you are, how rich you are, any of these things, right? Or a combination of these things. You are going, it doesn't matter. There's always going to be something that conflicts. Again, the Joe Walsh song, Life's Been Good, which is a song about a rock star. A lot of people idolize rock stars, which is hilarious. Rock stars want to be athletes and athletes want to be rock stars. But the rock star lifestyle, it's like, oh man, just get on stage, you have fans idolize you and you get to get drunk and you party all the time. And it doesn't matter how old you are, you always have tons of fans. And it's like, yeah, but you will have problems even then, which is with the Joe Walsh song. Got a Maserati, he lost his license, now he can't drive it. He has a limo, but he locks the doors because he's paranoid that his fans are going to go too far, and so on and so on. Was it John Paul Getty? The famous, one of the early American tycoons. I love telling this story. Had a 110-room mansion, and this kind of ties into the whole my father's house has many mansions. 110 rooms, very, very big place. And what did he do? He got really mad because his guests, if you have 110 rooms, you have guests all the time, right? They kept using the frickin' phones and making long-distance calls back in the days, when long-distance calls cost a lot of money. It's not like unlimited like it is now. And it wasn't even overseas. You call from New York to Los Angeles, it was still considered long distance. Anyway, he got so upset that he took the phones out of every one of the guest rooms and installed pay phones in the hallway. It obsessed him that much. It's like a 110-room mansion. Money is not an object, but because his life was built on money, that's all he cared about. Even down to the penny, down to the nickel, he cared about it. So anyway, sorry, went off a little tangent there, but yes, outside of this place is Elysium to the nth degree, no question. So, but that was from Joseph. So thank you, Joseph. This one is called Flat Earth. Hello, Mark. My name is John from Ontario, Canada. Was watching your program on YouTube. I also am a flat earther, a Christian as well. So yes, it's easier for me to get it for the flat earth with a dome is very biblical. My question for you is, we don't necessarily need to go to Antarctica to reach the wall or edge, right? So why don't people just leave the edge of British Columbia and get to the edge? No, you absolutely have to go to Antarctica to reach. You have to not only go to Antarctica, but you've got to go thousands of miles inland from the coastline. Remember, Admiral Byrd was looking for the edge, looking for the outer marker and he started from the Antarctic coastline in 1928, and they did not hit it until 1956. So it's a better part of 30 years, 28 years. Was flying, and he wasn't in there with sled dogs and tractors and snowmobiles and all the other stuff. He was in planes, flying his own planes for the better part of 30 years. That's how far inland you have to go. Long way. So no, the average person is not going to be doing anything in Antarctica along these lines. Moving on. This one's called Flat Earth and the Flat Plains and Plateaus. Hi, Mark. I'm a big fan. I watch your shows and videos anytime you post. I also refer people who are curious on the flat earth subject to your videos and gerunds. I think you guys are revolutionizing the subject. Anyways, to the reason I'm writing, I've been trying to look at different aspects of the theory that maybe isn't looked at as much. And I recently researched the flat plains and plateaus of Earth, and much to my surprise, I discovered that 45% of Earth's land surface is covered by flat plains and plateaus. It even states this in the CIA World Fact book. As I was reading through it, literally every other country or continent stated that most of them are mainly relatively flat plains. I know a lot of people that will say, relatively flat isn't flat, but what I think they're not considering is even relatively flat shouldn't exist on a round Earth. I would just like to get your opinion on this and tell me if you think my assumption on that is the total amount covering 45% of land surface is flat plains. That alone backs the theory the Earth is flat. I'll do you one better, and that was the study. You guys can look this up. There was a University of Kansas some years back. They did a survey of most of the state. If you guys have ever been into the West and you've driven through Nebraska or Kansas or some of the other states, it's really, 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 really flat. And they determined that the entire state of Kansas was 99.9997% flat. And flatter than a pancake. Why they would use a pancake instead of like a linoleum floor or something like that, I don't know. But it was very, very flat. But it was, here's the thing. Well, this is what most people don't know. Kansas is only one of, I think, 9 states that are also just as flat. Nebraska, I'm sure, the next door neighbor is along the same lines. I mean, other than the Rocky Mountain states, the states that actually have a whole bunch of mountains in the middle of them, there's a lot of states out there that are really close to being flat. I mean, the fact you have 9 in the United States, unfortunately, we can't use that as an argument against science, because they're going to claim that, oh, well, you're just talking about a giant pool table flatness on a sphere. Their argument is going to be, well, fine. So Kansas is flat. It's just a flat spot on a curved surface. It's like, yeah, but you can't say that about all these different flat spots all over the place. What you were just saying there, statistically, it gets less and less probable as you keep building these numbers up and up and up, and yet they still cling to it. So that's why we have to use water. Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do to science because they have a right to say it. It's like, well, technically, it's just a flat spot it's still a sphere, but it's just a flat spot on a sphere. It's like, killing me. There's a lot of flat spots out there, but that's all right. That's fine, which is why we go for water, because water covers most of the surface. And if we can go after water, well, water's so big. The numbers then become so huge that they can't ignore it. Anyway, that's where I was going with that one. This one is called Flat Earth Sundogs Halos. Dear Mark, love your work. If you get time, watch 10 minutes of this video. There are some excellent evidences of the dome reflecting the sun's light. This cannot be explained by the official scientific explanation, which doesn't make any sense at all. Thanks, Gary Davies. And it's a YouTube video, imagine that. And I click on it, and it goes to something that says, oh, yeah, it's from my friend. Duh. So, okay, one, I'm already subscribed to this guy. It's zeteticism.com, otherwise known as Jeffrey Grupp, for those of you who've been listening to me for a long time. I haven't talked to Jeffrey in probably over a year. Zeteticism, zeteticism.com, and he actually spells it out, DOTCOM. And the video is called Zeteticism Volume 3, The Heavens Part 2, Sky Dome Sundog Halo, Inversion Physics. Yeah. It was done at towards the end of 2015. Yeah, back when Jeffrey was really, really into it. Fantastic. Love that one. In fact, I liked it, and I was already subbed. So thank you for that. I'm waiting for the day, and it has not happened yet, but I'm waiting for the day where somebody actually sends me my own video. Somebody where things are just spreading around. It's like, hey, have you watched this guy? This guy did Flat Earth Clues. Yeah, I may know a little bit about it. Waiting for it. It's going to come full circle, and when that does, I think my work here is pretty much complete. This one's called Flat Earth. Mark, hi, my name is Gary. I am new to this flat Earth concept. Something, if you told me when I was younger, I would have told you to go and just blow it off. Now I am 59 years young. I've never used that term, and I don't think I'm going to. And I am pretty bright intellect and very open-minded. Been listening to you on YouTube, and I will say I am very impressed on your research and how you present it. I am brand new to this, where a month ago I wouldn't give you the time of day. However, I am in. It all makes sense, and growing up as a Christian, and it all makes even more sense. Now I am so into it that I don't know what to do with it. I can't even share it with my people because they will think I am nuts. I have a good following, and I am a leader in my group. Are we clans on an island? I imagine him carrying like a spear with face paint. I am a leader in my group. Well, then it's never been known as goofy or got into something without investigating, and most would go along with me for the ride if I approve of it. That's good. This is going to be tough because now they are going to think, what has happened to Gary? He's gone over the edge. I'm going to use you, Doc. That pretty much explains it all with all seriousness. Oops. And disappeared for a second there. Seriousness. This is a new email system I'm reading through. Anyway, I like your style and would look forward to meeting you someday if you ever come to Seattle. I'm in Seattle. I'm going to sign out now. Love your work. I guess I would like to get involved if there's such a thing, or somehow go forward with what API has discovered. Thanks. That's from Gary. Cool, Gary. I'll see if I can track you down, hopefully. All right, this one's called DIY Experiments. Okay. Mr. Sargent. Mark, really, seriously, call me Mark. Don't call me Mr. Sargent. I am fairly new, a month flat earth curious person. As I read and watch YouTubes, always cracks me up when people say YouTubes, I've come to realize many of the observational facts can be explained via the flat earth theory and globe earth theory. Very frustrating. So I was wondering if you could point towards some homemade experiments which clearly and unambiguously support the flat earth theory. Here's one that I'm conducting when I fly to Seattle. Why is everybody flying to Seattle? This one's called Eye Level. My initial common sense understanding of perspective, I learned architectural drafting in high school, which compelled me to give credence to the flat earth position. A fact of perspective is the limits on vision described as the horizon's vanishing point. This vanishing point on the horizon is observable, but it has an imaginary limit of vision in the world of perspective and flat earth theory. In that if the earth is flat, then one might think you should be able to see to the end, yet the visual vanishing point sets a limit on the human eye's ability to see. The factual feature of this imaginary perspective horizon is that the horizon will always be level with the eye of the observer or a camera, no matter how high, obviously, until you see the far edge of the flat surface. An observer rises, the horizon will likewise rise to your eye level, and things beyond this horizon appear to vanish. Conversely, the globe, assumed to be a sphere, should also have a horizon, but a globe's horizon is a physical impediment to your observer's line of sight. The curvature gets in your way. Now, a fact of a physical horizon is that it will always drop as the observer goes higher above the globe. Therefore, you, as an observer, must look some angle downward to sight the horizon. This logic is impeccable and irrefutable, and the FE observation is different than a GE observation. GE, I've never actually heard anyone, although I don't think General Electric's going to be suing us. Still, I don't know if I'm going to be using it. Therefore, relying on my personal recollection that all horizons rise to eye level, I initially concluded the Earth must be flat and decided further consideration was warranted. Personal recollection is a poor standard, and this seems testable. On my flight to Seattle in a week, I'll sight the horizon through the window with my protractor and a plumb drop line. No angular drop supports the flat Earth proposition. I mathematically calculated the drop a globe predicts to be it flying at 7+ miles up, 39,000 feet, only 1.751 degrees. So little that no matter what I observe, it won't be conclusive, just an indicator. The Occam's razor or factors seemed easy enough, but the tolerances are just too tight. Null result. That's literally the end of the thing. It goes, thanks, Bob. And Bob is he's a very detail-oriented guy. He is a property tax consultant. So thank you, Bob, for that. I like the experiment. Good luck with you on that one. Moving on. This one's called Please Reach Me If Possible. Hey, Mark, my name is Sebastian, and I had a few questions regarding Flat Earth, and I know it's real and would just like to know how to let people know about this other than just talking about it. Anyway, hope you can reach me. Would love to talk. Sebastian. And yeah, all you can do right now is talk about it. That and whatever you're good at. Whatever you feel comfortable with. If you like doing street activism, go do that. If you like doing tests on water or air or sea, do that. If you like making music, I just added a few more songs on Flat Earth just recently. And there's the song, in fact, the playlist I have on YouTube is called Flat Earth Music 2015 to present. We've got, 240 tracks on that thing already? That's a huge amount of songs. Find me any other conspiracy that has songs, positive songs written about it. Seriously, pick one. There's nobody makes happy folk songs about JFK or a country music song about 9/11 that's even remotely happy. All these songs are really, really cool. It's like they're like battle songs that you would play at the army campfires. That's how I see it anyway. Just thought of that. Anyway, moving on. This one's called Hello. Hi, Mark. I came across your interesting videos. I was rather enlightened, so I thought to share the following video with you. You might have seen this. If not, here is the link. And it's on BitChute. Should I click on it? All right, let's see what happens. It's called Outward Bound, Colonizing the Oort Cloud. Yeah, whatever. Feel free to forward me any other links of your videos. I find them really interesting. Regards, George Beaton. And you know what? I don't know if he actually has seen the main site because there's so many people. Remember, there were millions of people that went to There Hiding God with the Greatest Lie Ever or Under the Dome full documentary. And so it was 7 million pushing over 7 million between those two videos. And they're all my stuff. So a lot of people don't even know I have a channel. Because at the end of those videos, they don't say, go to marksargent.com. I mean, it's nice that they put my name in the description, but you know how lazy people are. It's like, oh, he made that one video, because they tie it to that channel, and which is great. And like that one guy got 20,000 subs just from the Flat Earth Clues. So great, good for him. This one's called Survival Pack. Hey, Mark, greetings from the UK. Keep up the good work. The truth will set us free. Please, could you send over the Survival Pack? Many thanks, Tom. And I think he's talking about that survival guide, again, called Empty Shelves. I'm always leery about sending it to England because I feel bad. I keep thinking of the movie. It's one of my favorite zombie movies, 30 Days Later. Because the reason why that movie just freaks it as an American always freaks me out because Great Britain doesn't have any guns. So zombie movies in Great Britain, which have not been a ton of, are really scary because most of them don't have guns. The military has guns, but the civilians, they don't have any weapons. United States and Canada, guns all day long. But over in Great Britain, you have to fight zombies with machetes and baseball bats and stuff, and it's a terrifying movie from that standpoint because one of our very first zombie movies over here was called Night of the Living Dead, which is 1968, I believe, black and white movie. And just big, gives guns all day long. And then the one they did in the late 1970s, Dawn of the Dead. Oh yeah, ex-cops, sporting goods store inside. Anyway, what I'm saying. So zombies without guns, it's a whole nother level of fear, and I don't even like thinking about it. Moving on. This one's called Flat Earth Q&A Emails. Good day. Hi there, Mark. By the way, I'm Christian. I don't know why you would start your email with by the way. But with regards in the flat earth discussion, if the earth is truly flat, why can you send UHF or VHF transmissions over a large body of ocean like the Pacific as again, spell checker, guys. As they are traveling at line of sight, you can't say its power as radio amateurs have been bouncing signals off the moon. No. Which also proves flat earth conspiracy to be wrong, as radio transmission is proven to travel the speed of light. Oh my God, killing me. And the moon bounce delay is 2.6 seconds, which makes the total distance to be pushing 400,000 miles with that calculation. That is not accurate, as amateur moon bounce delay ranges from 2.4 to 2.7 seconds, but still calculations are very, very, very far from the flat earth model, but near to NASA's measurement at 384,400 kilometers. Thanks for spending time reading my message. Hope to hear from you soon. That's from Chris. Chris, you could not be more wrong. Oh my God. Nobody's bouncing okay, that's not exactly true. You could be bouncing radio signals off the dome, but you're not bouncing anything off the moon. Where did you get that? I've never even heard anyone say that ham radio guys are bouncing signals off the moon. Seriously. I don't even know where to start with that. So, you know what? Let's go to break. Bouncing off the moon. Killing me.
Truth Frequency Radio is your number one source for...
You must unite what has been set asunder.
We are TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
Major Kong. Major Kong. Primary target the ICBM complex at Laputa. Switch all receiver circuits to CRM discriminators.
What's cooking on the threat board? Nothing. Alright, tell you what you better do, old buddy. You better give Elmo and Charlie a flash and bump everything up to condition ready. Stand by the call on your base.
Major Kong. Major Kong. Hey, what about Major Kong?
Clear and plain and coming through fine.
What about
It's great to be fine.
What about Major
What's
Kong?
happened? You see the string in my neck, Scarry.
What about Major
I
Kong?
never told you.
Hey, what about Major Kong?
Welcome back to Strange World, part 3 of 4. It is Mailbag night, and that song was called Major Kong by Chip Baker, who writes some cool little intro and outro tracks for me. And not only one of the big reasons I love that track is not just because it was from one of my all-time favorite movies, Dr. Strangelove, was directed by Stanley Kubrick, but also because of the actors that you're listening to. Slim Pickens, George C. Scott, and you have Peter Sellers, one of the greatest actors of all time. And great character actors, great roles for those guys, and just a fantastic movie. If you have not watched Dr. Strangelove or you haven't seen it in a while, I highly encourage you to revisit it. Back to Mailbag, shall we? This one's called Photo for You. Mark, I work for Underground Printing just west of Ann Arbor, Michigan. I've actually been to Ann Arbor. We print every shirt for the university, from plain t-shirts to button-up business, you name it, classes, games, and events. This just ran today, and December 15th, 2017. I am now in a much better understanding of how this New World Order is real. They are indoctrinating the students, at least since 1987 by this print. Positive, it's been hundreds. Thank you for your time and all your dedication. If for any reason you would like to use this photo, it's 100% free of use. I hold no value nor care of this picture. Again, thank you for your time, Kirk Doak. And yeah, it's a T-shirt from 1987 where it's the UN flag on it. So you know what? I'm going to steal that one, and I'm going to use it. Put that in my to-do pile. Awesome. I'll use that in my slides. If you guys have any pictures, by the way. So a couple things. Two quick things. One is, if you have a Flat Earth license plate, and I did my license plate things for January, and there were a couple of people that sent them because I mentioned it on the air. If you have a Flat Earth license plate and you have not sent it to me, you don't have to put your car in it. I only care about the plate. So either crop out the car or send it to me with the car in it, and I will make sure it's pretty high res though, and I will cut out and use it as is, because I love putting those plates out there. So send me the plates if you get a chance. Send to msargent23@comcast.net. And if you don't remember that email, it's in the description box of every single video I have. And also, if you have pictures or music. So if you have songs, remember, send them to me and I'll put them on my playlist. And if you have pictures you want me to use in the slideshow, as long as they're not offensive and use any weird profanity or they're like super ultra sexual or break any of the YouTube guidelines, then yeah, I'd be happy to put them in there. So send them to me, and they won't show up immediately. It'll probably take a week before I put them into the folder and then absorb them and put them into rotation. But send them to me, same email address, and I will definitely use them. This email is called Dog Name Idea. Mark, if you have a dog, you could name him the Beast. Then he would be the Beast of the Mark instead of the Mark of the Beast. That's from Steve Harris in Chisago City, Minnesota. You know, Steve, it's pretty funny. I've never actually heard anyone say that. Name him the Beast of the Mark. It's good. Good. Thanks for that. Hopefully no one will make a meme out of it. So far, I have not been a successful meme. I'm hoping that does not change anytime soon. Moving on. This one's called More Proof. Okay. Mark, you have probably been presented with this already, but there is a simple proof of why the moon landing was a hoax. Before presenting this, let me tell you, my background includes being the lead RF tech on my ship, United States Navy, for 2 Westpaks, 2 years of hands laser jockey experience in graduate school with a master's in electrical engineering at the University of Maryland, published twice in laser plasma physics. Have been a contract engineer for over the past 20 years and have worked for both DoD and DARPA with a secret clearance. Because the pointing vector of electromagnetic propagation from a transmit antenna decreases as distance squared, and the relay length of laser light causes that to expand its wavefront as distance squared as well, it is physically impossible for a TV signal or laser beam to reach out 240,000 miles. We used a line-of-sight UHF AM transceiver to talk to ships and helicopters in our group in the Pacific Ocean. The radio was tuned to me, but put out over 15 watts on the transmit side in order to be received successfully by entities only 10 miles away. Assuming that you only need 1 watt to do this, quite a concession, and ignoring the ionosphere and the Van Allen radiation belts, it would take at least 240,000 divided by 10 times 240,000 divided by 10 times 1 watt equals 576 million watts of power to reach from the moon to ground control on Earth. Exactly what kind of batteries did they bring to the moon? The hypothetical real-time signal they sent also had much wider bandwidth than simple band-limited military force AM. My family lived in the mountains of Oakland, New Jersey, and we could barely get a grassy signal from channels 3 and 6 of Philadelphia. Those channels both put out 500,000 watts of power back in 1969. They were only 110 miles away, and their signal was 100 megahertz UHF, which is the line of sight. Using the pointing vector again, and based upon this, it would take at least, he has some mathematical calculations here, but we'll just cut to the chase. 500,000 watts equals 2 trillion watts to send a TV signal from the moon to ground control. Again, what kind of batteries did they have? My ship used megawatt radar to bounce microwave electromagnetics off other ships a few scant miles away and display the ship, weather permitting. Bouncing a laser beam off any object 240,000 miles away, like they claim, and receiving a recognizable return signal is so far-fetched as not to be worthy of any attention by anyone with 2 functional frontal lobes. Stan Lee comes up with more believable nonsense. Stan Lee, of course, the legendary Marvel comic creator, who is still alive and enjoying his royalties in the winter years of his life, as Marvel Studios has made a ton of money recently. So that's great. Thank you. That's from Jim. So thank you, Jim. Reinforcing what we already knew, and that is, even if you could beam a signal to the moon to talk to the astronauts, how in the world are they responding? With what technology are they responding with? Even with that flimsy-looking dish, how are you punching through? Forget about the moon's atmosphere. How are you punching that signal, pointing it directly at Earth and communicating with the Earth back then? People believe a lot of stuff, because science tells them. Men in the white lab coats, they never lie, right? This one's called Sky is the Limit. Hi, Mark. I would really love to have a signed copy of Clues in my library, so I was wondering if you would be opposed to me sending my copy to you and postage package for your return. If you have already inundated with mail, I have no problem road tripping up your way to attend any meetup you'll be at. Let me know what you prefer. By the way, I'm sending copies of the Clues to my family members for Christmas, since they wouldn't listen to me talk about Flat Earth in person, even if I had been invited for Christmas dinner. Nice. Keep up the good work. That's from Lane. And yeah, I've done this for people before. If you want an autographed copy, the easiest way is just buy it off Amazon, ship it to me here, and I will, and then, PayPal me or whatever for the postage to your house. $10 usually covers it because I'll just send it priority mail. And I'll put it in a box and I will send it your way. Happy to do it. So you got to buy, again, easier way to because, Amazon will, if you have Prime, I think they ship it for free. But it's better. Otherwise, you have to be double postage. You have to have it shipped from Amazon to you, and then you have to ship it from you to me. Better just ship it from Amazon straight to me. So just saying. I probably should get some copies on hand so people want this. Anyway, moving on. This one is called Hi. Hi, Mark. My name is Pedro. I'm a huge conspiracy theorist myself. I'm the nutter from the Friends. From the Friends? After seeing your video, my mind just got blown away. I couldn't believe, but it was so logical, so rational that I had to check it out. So I've done my homework. I tried to prove you wrong, but I can't. Just to let you know what I've heard, that I've heard you. For quite some time, I was deeply intrigued by the Antarctica, but this is just almost too much to absorb. Hope to hear from you, and thank you. All the best, Pedro. Thank you, Pedro. It's awesome. Moving on. This one's called Quick Question. Hey, Mark, I still wrestle with the idea of flat Earth. I look for hints that the Earth may give to show the truth one way or the other. On the way home from work one day late evening, I noticed storm clouds low in the sky. The tops were black and the bottoms were lit by the setting sun. Something I have seen a million times, but I never thought about it. But it got me thinking, under the flat Earth model and sun leaving by perspective, how can it light the bottom of the clouds? Just wondering if you have an explanation of how that would be possible on flat Earth. I should try. No, I don't. Other than whatever light source is happening up there, there's optics that are being employed that we do not have any clue what's going on. Why would we? I mean, again, try to explain, go back in time, use a time machine and try to explain a smartphone to somebody 100 years ago. Where would you even start? That's what we're talking about here. Even if the structure of this place was even only 100 years in our future, we'd have a hard time. Remember, LED technology, even 30 years ago, was pretty much just a concept. So, sorry, moving on. Just want you to know I heard your debate on Dark 30 Radio and thought you were hands down the most polite and pointed debater there. Thank you very much. I like doing that interview, and I wish I had more debates. In fact, which is why I'm doing my declaration of war to science, putting it out there. I'm going to take my fight to them at this point. Any science group that thinks they could drag me into a university and turn me into a punching bag, love to see you try. So all you have to do is fly me out there. In fact, I should be hearing from the people from UCLA soon. And in the Georgetown University one that we were doing over video through there was a German television company. It was going to be the media intermediary for that, and we're still trying to figure out that. But again, it's the beginning of the year. Sorry. Let's see. I'm stating I don't know either way, just observing and trying to find some truth. But once you break the truth of the fake moon landing, it makes everything open to debate. That one instance of buffoonery by NASA will go down in history of being the biggest mistake ever made. A friend of mine told the local Catholic school does not even teach it to kids anymore. Thanks, Daryl. Very welcome, Daryl. Moving on. This one's called Laughable Mars Panoramic. Hello, Mark. I thought you might get a kick out of this laughable CGI panoramic 360 picture posted on Facebook. It's so incredibly fake, I can't believe over 30,000 people have shared it. As my grandma used to say, bless their hearts. Have a good one, Mark. And yeah, let me take a quick look at it. It's on Facebook, and it's a 3D Mars panoramic. Oh boy, awful, terrible. Probably shot in the southwestern desert or up in Norway somewhere. I think Jaron found some of the better pictures. All you have to do is change the color palette. Change the color palette to red, it's on Mars. Change it to gray, it's on the moon. It all comes down to palette. We've gotten very, very good with color palettes. Movies, it's used in movies every single day. I'm sorry, that was from Tyler. So thank you, Tyler. This one's called Flat Earth Question. Hey, Mark. About a week ago, my good friend turned me on to the possibility of a flat Earth. Since then, I've been consumed with research, hoping that I could find indisputable evidence. We are not on a sphere. I got a little deflated, though, See what you did there. When I found videos of people circumnavigating Antarctica, the specific one I am talking about was the Russian that completed the trip in 2008 in 104 days. You got to remember, the Russians are in on it, especially the Russian Scientific Foundation. They said it was a 16,400-mile trip. I don't want my journey for truth to end yet, but this makes it hard to continue. Have you seen this story? And if so, can you tell me what your thoughts are on it? Thanks so much, Chris Farmer. Yeah, Chris, when it comes to anybody circumnavigating Antarctica, remember, there's the only people that are even allowed down there are the military and some tourists on the outer edge. If there's someone circumnavigating it, that news that are coming from that is going to be scrubbed by whoever. And what guidance systems are they using? Because if they're using the GPS system, global positioning system, that means that they're going through, that was designed by the DoD, United States Department of Defense, back in the mid-90s. And the DoD is going to tell them exactly what they want to tell them. Just saying. This one's called Mark Sargent, LA Meetup and Radio Interview. Regards. Because I know how much you enjoy Bill Nye, the stupid guy, I thought you'd enjoy this. Oh, boy. What did Bill Nye say now? This was back in the day. Oh yeah, it was a great little article. You want to see something interesting, and this was done not by a flat earther. Look up a video on YouTube called "What Happened to Bill Nye the Science Guy." It goes into his history, and I've never really had a shortage of words when it comes to Bill Nye. It drives me insane, and I'm gonna go on a little rant just for a couple minutes because people have to understand so I'm from Seattle, so I know where Bill Nye's origins came from. He started out, he does not have a master's degree in anything. He has a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. That's it. And he abandoned that almost immediately and became an actor for a local sketch comedy troupe up here in Seattle, not even Los Angeles or New York or Chicago or any place in Canada. He wasn't a Kids in the Hall or anything. He was just a sketch troupe up in Seattle called Almost Live. Actually, not a bad sketch troupe with Ross Schaefer, who ended up doing a lot of talk shows and game shows and stuff like that. But Bill Nye, in fact, he didn't even come up with the science guy thing. It was on that sketch show where he did a little skit that was recommended by Ross, was not even his idea. It says, hey, you kind of look like a nerd. Why don't you put on a lab coat and do science experiments? And that's what he did. And then finally the show ended, and Disney, looking for new content, so he seems safe enough. So they picked up that skit and they trademarked it and they called it Bill Nye the Science Guy. And it ran for 4 or 5 seasons on Disney's network, and it got syndicated for a while. So there's quite a few kids it was along the same veins as Sesame Street or Electric Company, although not nearly the pedigree of those, or Mr. Rogers, but it was there. He was in those sort of time slots. And I don't think it was ever on PBS. I think it was strictly on Disney. But the point is that what happened was he became the default science guy. And then what happened later, much later, was that the news media, mainstream media, picked up on him as a science authority because they knew what he was like on camera. He had done enough camera work. He was comfortable enough in front of the camera. And here's the big part. He looks like the ultimate nerd. I may look like the ultimate geek and dork. I get that. But he looks like literally somebody that could have been a main player or at least a supporting actor in one of the Revenge of the Nerds movies. Literally, thin, angular features, lab coat, bow tie, hair a certain way, it's very, very, pocket protector, the whole 9 yards, very, very nerdish. And the media latched onto this because the real nerds, the guys that have their masters and PhDs in, astrophysics or astronomy or biology or geology or whatever you want to call it, in these universities, they're really, really dry. Because remember, if you're a super nerd, you have almost no social skills. It's relative. You have to give up something for something else, and they have no social skills. So you put them in front of a camera, 1-syllable, 2-syllable answers. They only will tell you exactly what because they're kind of like computers or machines. The machine is only going to tell you what you ask it. And so Bill Nye was more comfortable on camera, even though his education had nothing to do with the topics. So they grabbed him and put him on camera no matter what it was. So it's like, oh yeah, who are we going to talk to about climate change? Well, we could grab this guy who's got his master's or PhD in meteorology, or whatever it is, in over here from this university, from Caltech or MIT or wherever. But no, let's get Bill Nye. We know where he is. We'll grab him. He knows the drill. We'll put him in front of the studio. They like camera-ready people. And so they just kept doing it over and over and over again. And it's just like, okay, climate change. Let's put him on the Mars rover panel. Let's put him on a quantum physics panel. He has no reason being on any of these things. None whatsoever. And now the population, because people grew up with him, now that he's being wheeled in front, now his brand new show, Bill Nye Saves the World, which is he's just a puppet for that thing. That show has nothing to do with, he has nothing to do with the writing of that show. It is all secondary agendas, which are being pushed forward. He is literally just the front man. And it just drives me insane. If he ever was dumb enough to get into a debate with any of the flat earthers, we would destroy him because his arguments are terrible. They're just terrible. He leans on the same, we have pictures from space. If he says that one more time, I'm going to freaking have an aneurysm. So anyway, yeah, Bill Nye, if he's listening, love to debate you sometime, my man. I got 5 questions that would put you into a fetal position in under 10 minutes. I guarantee it, because your brain would just start imploding. Sorry. That's my thing about Bill Nye. I'm just staring at his picture on YouTube, and I'm starting to lose my temper. And you know me, it takes me a while. So anyway, thank you, Justin from Extreme Health Radio, for bringing that sore subject up. Bill Nye, hate him so much. Okay, moving on. This one's called. We're gonna go straight to religion on this one. John 8 verse 32. The truth around us. That was the title of this thing, John 8:32. The truth around us. Videos that show the truth about our Earth, sun, moon, and stars. Think carefully about everything around us. Everything is different. Thank you for the new friendships and your interest. I wish you a blessed day, George. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. I wish the blessed day. I send my testimony of truth. Is this flat Earth? Kinda. I have unique videos. Everything is created by God in the name of Jesus Christ, showing us the truth of our country, the sun, the moon, and the stars. Everything is alive, on the move. Official learning of the world is Lee. They conceal the unique creation work of God, which is known to people from the creation of the world. I'm sending samples of unique videos. And he sent me links to probably 12 different things, but he didn't title any of them. So I won't click on them now, which is fine. Okay, this one's called Flat Earth Poetry. I always like the poetry ones. Normally I do this just before the break, but it's not that long. I used to write poetry many years ago in another life, finally not having to hold on to a spinning inspiration. Okay, this one's called, I wish I had like a saxophone or like a muted trumpet and a bass and a drum to have in the background, a little beat, a little jazzy thing. But it goes something like this. Being on a spinning ball for 72 times around a sun that's only 8 minutes away by fairy light would make most people crazy, and likely has been implemental, some to prove it hasn't been a lie. Dissonance rages in defense of creation, hiding creation, cyclical blockage, deeply bred, scholarly disclosure rises from that depth with moronic contempt, books and graphs and scholars held aloft. Without recourse, mockery, insult, ridicule, synonyms fill their arsenal, wishing for sticks and stones. With sadness, after bearing unpleasant names, at least we are comforted by truth, and we are not dizzy. That's from Reldon Smith. Reldon Smith? Okay. Cool. Thank you. Like poetry. We're close to the break. Let's see how many more we got before the break. This one's called Big Brains. Brother Mark, kudos and accolades to you for handling the big brain on your interview with him. You did good. Which one were they talking about? Was that the British thing? I thought I had sent this video to you, but if not, here it is again. This video should settle the issue. If there is any gravity or not, this should be spread to the flat earth community, especially the so-called scientific community as well. It was good. It was actually, this is from Richard Harris. And I know, Richard, you send me a lot of stuff, and I can't read all your stuff because some of it's really, really long. But this one was a good link. It was called Brian Cox Visits the World's Biggest Vacuum Chamber, Human Universe, Episode 4 Preview on BBC Two. And yeah, it was this giant vacuum cleaner, giant vacuum chamber. And they had a big pile of feathers and a bowling ball right next to each other. And they lifted them both up to the ceiling. No trickery involved. Sucked all the air out of the room, dropped them, and they both dropped at the same time. Totally buy it. I totally buy it because I believe in some sort of force called gravity. It doesn't necessarily have to be density, although even that test doesn't completely exclude density. But if you pull the vacuum stuff out of the room, it means that something is pulling this stuff to the ground. And if the feather and the ball fall equally, well, then there's got to be some sort of force. I'm saying, yes, of course. Yeah, there could be an atmospheric density involved. But I think there's also a form of molecular magnetism called gravity. I mean, we're still going to call it gravity, aren't we? Okay, we'll do this real quick and then we'll go to break. This one's called On the Level. Hello, Mark. I came across this information about a week ago. I had been reading different stories on Nimrod, Osiris, and such, and came across the big tree theory. I usually look for old paintings and observe numbers and positioning, looking for interesting stuff, right over left, fingers in unusual positioning, and all. Too much of this makes sense. Briefly depressed me. Literally small and helpless, but need help paying attention and trying to learn and observe. Enjoy the videos. Good luck and have a good one. That's from Drew DeWalt. Unfortunately, he didn't send me any links to the videos or anything along those lines. And, well, you know what I have to say about that. If you don't include the links, if you forgot to attach something, that's a rookie mistake. And you hate to see it. And the next one is going to be too long for me to do in 20 seconds. So when we come back from break, we're going to do our last mailbag segment. Remember, you can always email me at msargent23@comcast.net, or you can call my phone, which is 303-494-6631. And of course, I screen most of my calls, so it'll go to voicemail. But by all means, give me a call anyway. And yeah, in about 3, 2, 1.
It seems to me so strange. Check wallet for his name. His face is in the muck. I think his zipper's stuck.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
You're listening to Truth Frequency Radio.
We are TFR.
Welcome back to Strange World, part 4 of 4. This is the last segment of the evening. And yes, that was Joe Jackson stepping out from his album Night and Day. And we're doing Mailbag tonight. And a quick little thing I just want to note to people, because it was the end of the year just recently, which is if you type Flat Earth into YouTube, and you sort by upload date. If you want to know where the biggest numbers are, if you just type in Flat Earth, type it in right now, and just hit search, it comes in at 5.2 million. But if you sort by upload date, and that was a trick given to me by Bob over at Globebusters, that has never changed. For whatever reason, that filter has never been worked on. That shows the real numbers, which is 18.8 million. And if you're wondering how that compares to everybody else, type in something like, Lady Gaga. I like typing her in. Normally, when you type her in, she comes in at 7.6 million. And if you sort by upload date, she comes in at 15.6. We're tracking higher than her. If you're saying, oh, no, it's just a fluke. It's like, no. So if I type in Donald Trump, that guy. If I type in Donald Trump. He comes in at 12.8 normally, and you sort by upload date, where he's coming in at 21.2. So we're coming in, we're trending somewhere between Lady Gaga and Donald Trump. And what's the significance there? Well, we're doing it without really any marketing dollars at all. We're not technically considered mainstream, and our numbers just keep going up and up and up. We're the biggest guilty secret of the media world right now, even though some of the, Kyrie Irving's doing his best to get the word out there along with some other celebrities like B.O.B. Hopefully B.O.B. and we'll get to debate somebody. Hopefully. I mean, he sounded pretty clear when he was squaring off with Bill Nye, although he was referring him to Eric Dubay, and we'll have to see what happens with Eric because his channel was taken down not too long ago, and he's trying to rebuild it. I don't know what's happening there, though. Still haven't gotten the whole scuttlebutt on that. Okay, let's get back to Mailbag, shall we? Moving on. This one's called Flat Earth Moving Stars. If I can get enough of these emails done, I may not have to do an email show before the next one of these. Flat Earth Moving Stars. Mark, I completely agree with your theory of the flat Earth. I can currently look at any star in the sky, then after a minute of directly staring at the star, it will move. It doesn't matter if it's a random star or a major constellation, like the Big Dipper. If I stared at them long enough, they will move. I'm curious if you know anybody else who has experienced this phenomena and what this might possibly mean. Thank you for your time and have a nice day, Jeremiah. I don't know what you're talking about necessarily. Move. Because, I mean, if we're talking about UFOs, well, yeah, if you grab night vision binoculars and you go up there, that's how you spot them. Because they're about the same size as stars, which was one of Steven Spielberg's jokes in the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where the UFOs were high enough that they just formed a Big Dipper and slid the Big Dipper across the sky, which was hilarious. Even had Richard Dreyfuss laughing in the movie because of it. They deliberately laughing on script. And, yeah, when you're looking up there with night vision binoculars, if you guys haven't checked it out, buy some, if you have the means, go out and buy some, I can tell you because I've tested a whole bunch of them, Night Owl 5X, I think they're called Explorers, but the brand is Night Owl, and you can't really get any Gen 1s better than 5X. Run it, I think, like $400, but get your eyes adjusted and go out and start looking at the sky and start watching dots move across the sky and tell me if they're satellites, because eventually, and it will not take long, maybe in one night, maybe two, you'll notice that these satellites are not moving the way they should be if you think they're satellites. So, yeah, let's move on, shall we? This one's called Flat Earth. Mark, my name is Patrick Garvey. I'm 36 years old. I live in Suffolk, Virginia, married to Susie. Okay, a father to two boys, ages 4 and 2, and I have an active duty with the Coast Guard. I've been a follower of yours for about a year or so. I didn't give the idea that the Earth was flat much credit until I and Susie left behind Christianity over 2 years ago. My wife and I started to really think for ourselves. Together with learning and studying about moon landing questions, the alleged distance of the sun, the Antarctic Treaty, and Admiral Richard Byrd, the most important movie of our generation is The Truman Show. In addition to much, much more, we've become believers that the Earth is flat. You've been an incredible resource, especially from your YouTube page. One thing I want to ask you, it seems awful peculiar to me that Trump is not asking to, but ordering NASA to go back to the moon soon. To me, it almost seems like Trump is trying to call their bluff, as in he knows NASA can't get there. Thank you, Patrick. Yeah, that is really interesting. One, and we know this because we love sound bites here in the Flat Earth world. Obama said Flat Earth several times during not only his campaign, but during his presidency, and had several speeches that kind of were tailored to the topic. But Trump has not mentioned it yet. He's mentioned fake news, but he has not mentioned Flat Earth. And honestly, he probably shouldn't, because the media would just, they hang on his every word, and a soundbite from him can make or break his week or month. But yeah, ordering NASA to go back to the moon, that is an interesting thing, because they can't. You can't go back to the moon. Technology-wise, if the moon was landable now in 2018, yes, you could go back to the moon. You couldn't do it in 1969, no chance. You didn't nearly have the computer power to pull that thing off. You might be able to pull it off now if it was real. But here's the problem. The problem is that the camera technology is so good. Remember, 4K, 8K technology when it comes to cameras, and they're so tiny, there is no excuse for just covering whatever capsule you have with these cameras. So how are you going to fly to the moon and back and not take any footage? Because the footage has to line up perfectly. It has to be date and time stamped. It's going to be in high res, none of this low res crap. Remember, in 1969, nobody even had VCRs. Didn't even have VHS back then. Nowadays, you get the internet. You get that feed, and it'll be all over the internet, live, distributed everywhere instantly. So how are you going to do it? How are you going to go to the moon? You can't. I mean, even if you could, you can't pull it off because you can't fake it. Remember what I said 2 years ago, where I said, look, if somebody came to me with a folder and said, okay, you're going to fake the Mars mission, and gave me unlimited funds and unlimited access to special effects, I would say, get out of here. There's no way you can do it. There's a reason why we have things called moviemistakes.com and moviebloopers.com. Every major film, over a certain dollar amount, when it has to deal with special effects and green screens and all this other crap, because movies are shot out of order, mistakes are made all the time. All the time. It doesn't matter how careful you are. It's all, and we have all caught them. But and that's what we're talking about there, a big, big movie. The Mars mission is just going to be a big movie. There's no way you can fake it. But heck, a moon mission would be impossible now. Just be impossible. Never, ever going to happen. So I hope that Donald Trump is calling their bluff. I hope that he's doing it, and I hope that he secretly listens to my show. That's my little patting myself on the back there for a second. Moving on. This one's survival guide. Oh, it's not just a short thing. Okay. Let's see what we got. Okay. Hello, Mark. Tempting to carbon copy Rob Skiba on here as well. Longtime listener, first-time writer, hoping to call you some Tuesday in chat. Hope this is not too long-winded. Requesting the survival guide and hoping to hear from you sometime in 2018. I know how busy you get. Also, I was born and raised in Washington State, so go Dogs. He means the Washington Huskies. Would love to buy you lunch someday. When I'm home to see my family. My parents live only a couple hours south of you. So more about me. I'm 45 years old, 20-year veteran, retired United States Navy, specialized in aviation life support. Now I'm a self-employed consultant for television and movies for props and costumes. As you can imagine, a huge sci-fi fan. So after much research and going down the rabbit hole a few times on a few topics, I stumbled on Flat Earth, and it was all over after that. No one can describe that moment to you till the switch flips for yourself and your jaw is sitting on the floor looking at the computer and you're saying, what? It's kind of like having kids. You could not explain it to anyone till it happens to you. I am still kind of a closet flat earther. I came out to a couple people to test it, and wow, as you can imagine, the attacks in person are a true testing, and online is even worse. So I created this account in true NASA fashion to compartmentalize my life. Besides, I know it will not be good for business since I have my own YouTube channel, and one of my customers found out I was a flat earther after a Facebook post I made. He still from time to time sends me Facebook messages trying to stir me up, but I just shut him down since they always have led to fights. Told him if he wants to talk business, that's fine. God bless you, brother. Not sure how you do it or maintain that composure. My fuse is a bit shorter, unfortunately. I am a Christian and found that a mixture of you and Rob to be two of the best channels out there that would fit my mold of thought. I have struggled in my life this past year and looking forward to 2017 just going away. I have never told anyone this, and I think my own wife thinks I'm going mad, but back in 2016, I was struggling with life, faith, the whole meaning of the life stuff, and this overwhelming feeling of I was missing the mark. Being an Aquarius, I have always been a tad eccentric, but a true free thinker. So alone late one night, I prayed my ass off and asked God to reveal something to me very few people had seen or even knew. I even begged him to pull back the curtain for me. I believe very much in spiritual warfare, but I wanted God to let me see whatever, even if it was to mean I couldn't understand or handle it. I was tired of the rut of life. Well, we all know, be careful what you ask for, and he will never give you more than you can take. Not more than 2 weeks later, I came across, guess what? So more time in prayer to this cannot be true, and one night the switch flipped. Everything from questions never answered as a child to fighting evolution my whole life all came to a calm, quiet peace. I had never been so sure of things in my life. So before this turns into a novel, in closing, I know everyone does not have the same views, and after the conference I wanted to attend but could not, trying to make next year's, I hope everyone will still work together for the cause and not start to turn on each other as I have seen in the past. Only through teamwork and the seamless integration of ideas and true science will we all withstand the hate and ridicule. I feel we are in the second act, and Truman has started to take notice. Since I am very plugged into TV and film, I have been starting to compile a list of subtle things I have seen on the news, commercials, shows, and movies that either are trying to counter the flat earth or in a way hint at it. As you mentioned about novelty, I feel the best way to move forward is to meet some of these challenges head on. If we reveal these hidden agendas or combat them one at a time, this will not only reveal the truth, but may turn the tides in our favor someday. I am not just talking about the obvious things like Kyrie Irving commercial or things of that nature. Real current events, topics, and hidden agendas, messages of content. They are finding ways to fight us and not even utter the words flat earth. When I am ready, hoping to call you and talk about them more or point them out to your subscribers. I feel this is my calling or subject matter expertise at this time. Keep up the hard work and let me know your favorite place to eat so we can do that lunch someday. Please see my first example below, very respectively, Ryan. I say here. Example 1, the release of the American Girl 2018 Girl of the Year doll on Good Morning America on December 28th, 2017. If you have time, wait, but when was this email? Oh, right. Your doll, good morning. Please look into this. Notice how, so that was the article. Oh, yeah. The girl aspiring to be an astronaut. It was a doll on ABC News, and it was called Meet America's. Let me read this to you. That's just the title of it. Meet America's Girls 2018 Girl of the Year, an aspiring astronaut, Luciana Vega. Yeah. Great. Love it. Okay, moving on. So thank you, Ryan, for that, and hopefully I'll get to your other examples later on. I think I clicked on that one out of order. I did click on that one out of order. I am so sorry. I just clicked. It's going 12:30. I'm not even close to being to December 30th, and that's because I didn't refresh the page. So sorry about that. Hopefully I didn't skip anybody else. Okay, this one is called Questions Regarding Earth. Mark, I just want to say thank you for your video. My husband came over a year ago talking about this, and it concerned me because I didn't want him to be hauled off in a straitjacket, among other things. I have, thanks to be to God, an open mind that allows me to investigate all possibilities, no matter how skeptical I am. I love a good debate, so even just to prove someone wrong, I will research it to death if necessary. I have looked into many different religions as well, and thankfully have been blessed enough to come out alive. By the way, if you guys are going to send me an email, please use paragraph breaks every once in a while, because I'm looking back and forth on the screen, and sometimes I get lost. I've looked into maybe just now. When looking into atheism at the request of a neighbor, I dug deep enough for suicide or a self-lobotomy to have been a real possibility. A very bleak and dark religion, atheism is. Nothing against atheists. It's just that it takes more faith to believe there is no God than to believe there is. You really, really have to believe in super lies. Plus, I have yet to meet any that are nice, understanding human beings. The ones I have met have been bullies who push others to believe their way. If you cross them, whoa, which is disturbing to me because they hate, and I mean hate, any kind of questions. Just questions, mind you, being brought up that actually lead away from what they believe. Guess I wouldn't make a good atheist then. I tend to go wherever the truth and science lead. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. I grew up just amazed with the stars and galaxies, basically anything that had to do with the faraway things we see in the sky. I wanted to be an astronaut and adored NASA, of course. Therefore, many tears and much anger had stirred up within me as I continue my research on this topic. I believe it was Hitler who stated that the bigger the lie, the easier it is to get people to believe it, which I always thought quite absurd until I looked at how successful this propaganda machine was. Now look at what I'm hearing. I asked God to reveal the truth to me over a decade ago. I told him I wanted his truth, and that I wanted everything else to fall away. I had no idea what I was in for. I do not regret it, but it is definitely bittersweet. I went to church with a guy who worked at NASA and told me whatever questions I just had to ask him. Yeah, right, I thought. The guy was just a software engineer. Even before all of my investigations to this point, I knew the guy thought way too much of himself to understand that only a handful of people were even privy to what was really going on. I just smiled and cocked my head to one side, wondering what it would do to someone like that to really know the truth, you know? I'm not ready to discuss these findings or post your video on Facebook or any other social media just yet. I'm crying a lot these days because the truth I've been told for so long has just died, and I'm in mourning over it. But I know there will come a time that I will come out with what I know to be the real truth. I'm not ready for the battles that will come with it, I guess. I don't want to hurt anyone, but that is just inevitable because it's been so ingrained in us. I guess I'm just so sad to know that the whole world is more communist than I ever could have imagined. What gives people the right to withhold the truth? It all boils down to money and power. It's so disgusting to me. Truth is definitely a painful thing, but a necessary pain so the true healing can begin. Thank you for your strength. I know where that comes from. Please continue asking questions, and I will continue the same. I hope that I can meet you someday as the good Lord wills it. There is so much darkness in this awful world. Let's not forget that with darkness, there is also light. Thank you for helping show me some of that light. I'm very grateful. I know you probably get a lot of hate mail. I hope this little bit of encouragement helps. May God bless you and keep you close to him always. Angela Brown. P.S. I have the utmost respect for the Professor Walter Veith, but he doesn't believe this, I don't think. Not sure how to get these highly educated types to just look into it, you know? It's kind of like, how do you fill a cup that is always full? It's a dilemma. Any suggestions? I've listed a couple of his video series below for you to peruse if you have the time. And yet, when it comes, if you've heard anything I've ever said on this show, you know that anyone that has a master's degree or higher in any of the physical sciences, nothing you can do. Literally, you're going to have to wait until the mainstream media does whatever it's going to do, whatever moves they're going to make to where it becomes common knowledge. Because until the mainstream media tells them that the world is not what you think it is, their conditioning is too far gone. Remember, we're talking 12 years of high school, 4 years of your undergrad degree, plus your master's degree, plus your PhD, if you get a PhD. That's a lot. It's a lot of conditioning, a lot of education. I mean, it's burned into your head. Why would you think anything else? What would ever change your mind out of it? Even mainstream might have a tough. They'd be in denial. They would literally go into a fetal position somewhere with a bottle. Anyway, moving on. This one's called Please Help. Mark, I'm listening with an open mind, but there's one question I just can't wrap my head around. If the dome or what it is has been there for years, who built it? They didn't have that type of tech then. That's from Vanessa. Vanessa, it has nothing to do with us. We did not build it. To use the line from Contact with Jodie Foster, when she finally ran into the advanced civilization, she asked him who built the transit system. She asked him if he built it, and he goes, we didn't build it. We don't know who did. At least they were honest about it. Okay, moving on. This one's called Question About the Moon. Mark, I was watching this video and made me think about the moon and how its light might work. And it was from an article from Mental Floss called Watch How Neon Lights Are Made. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think that's something that the Globebusters had been looking into, the noble gases and what could be lighting up the moon. Yeah, the moon is definitely self-illuminated. If anyone has any doubts, you don't even have to use night vision. Just go, especially now, it's a big moon out there. If you're out there, go outside and try to look at the moon. It's blinding. How is the moon? You're thinking, well, it's reflecting off the sun. I was going, really? It's so blinding. It's glowing. It's like this white, glowy light. Then why, when the astronauts were on it, was it a dark gray? I mean, like light-sucking gray, like volcanic ash gray, where it was just this bleak late 60s, early 70s color palette. Why wasn't it glowing? Why wasn't the sun completely just beaming off of it? Why? I'd like to know. Also, why would anyone want to go to the moon? Are you kidding? It's an achievement. Why does anybody climb Mount Everest? It's not like there's diamonds at the top of it. If Earth is hurtling through space, all the speeds they say it is, how would they catch back up to it? There's your better question right there. They would instantly be left behind. Thanks for reading, Ronnie. Absolutely right, Ronnie. If anyone has not seen the graphic, it's not that the Earth is spinning. It's not that the Earth is going around the sun. It's rotating around the sun. It's that the solar system is supposedly going sideways, meaning like you're pushing a record. Like if the solar system's like a dinner plate, it's flying face first through the galaxy, like a shotgun pattern. A whole bunch of BBs just flying sideways, although they're all corkscrewing at the same time. Here's the problem with that, though. You've got these null gravity points. So between planets, supposedly, remember, if you believe mainstream science, between planets, there's these null gravity points. You want to call them Lagrange points, that's fine. When an object gets to that Lagrange point, what's keeping it going the same speed, that 500,000 miles an hour with the galaxy? What is pulling it along? Remember, all the gravitational forces are gone. So what's pulling that object? And you want to take it one step further, which somebody brought up to me last year, which is the comets. Like Halley's Comet takes this elliptical path through our solar system, right? Well, when it leaves our solar system, what exactly is pulling it back to where it's going faster than the system itself? What rubber band force is there? Remember, the solar system is traveling 500,000 miles an hour. So how is that comet actually catching up with the sun, going around it, and then leaving the solar system and coming back? How does that just keep happening over and over? What force is allowing the comet to move faster? What thrust is happening there? I'd like to have somebody explain that to me. All right, do we have time for a couple more? I think we do. Okay, at least this one. This one's called Hello, It's Been a Little While. Sounds like a song. Hello, Mark, it's me. Oh, Zero Curve from the Kentucky thing. But he has his license plate, Zero Curve. I no longer live in Kentucky. Ironically, I now reside about 25 minutes away from where you were just at for the Flat Earth Conference. Sorry I couldn't make it there. Anyway, I've been listening to you lately again. I enjoyed your Snafu and Colorado interviews. I've been wondering about a couple things that it seems no one in the community had ever brought up, or I have missed explanations of. Why is it all of the ISS or any other so-called satellites with cameras only show pictures of the Earth spinning east to west? Why don't they ever shoot north to south, passing directly over both poles? I mean, obviously, it makes sense if they have to pass over, flat and north-south passing and therefore impossible. I hope I can explain this right. One of the first videos that took me down the rabbit hole was the young engineer who was perplexed about the north-south runways. It made sense to me as well. We're spinning, so if landing, we should have trouble landing on a spinning surface. But the explanation was that we are enclosed in the atmosphere, kind of like a fly buzzing around in your car. You're traveling at 65 to 75 miles an hour, but everything inside moves around like normal. When you open a window, however, and the fly goes out, he's nearly ripped apart and left far behind. He has, in a sense, left the internal atmosphere of the car. So when rockets supposedly leave the protection of the Earth's atmosphere, and the Earth is supposed to be hurtling 67,000 miles an hour through space, shouldn't the ship be almost ripped apart when it reaches space? Yeah, good point. At the very least, it should be left behind in the dust. That was just what the last person asked. If the Earth continues on this path. I don't know if these two things made sense or if it's been addressed. We'll catch you later. That's from Extra Crap. Yeah. Exactly what we just talked about. All right. Do I have time? I got like a minute. Can I get out one more email? Not that one. Wait, do one more. Short one? Let's do a short one real quick, and then we'll go over just a couple minor things. This is called Survival Guide. Hey, man. Thanks for all you do. Get the truth out. Also requesting a copy of the Survival Guide. Thanks. Yeah, if anyone wants a copy of it, you can email me at msargent23@comcast.net. It's called Empty Shelves. It's free. It's 110 pages. And I will just shoot it off to you. And also, by the way, if you want my coast to coast interviews, because I'm not allowed to put them up on YouTube because of copyright stuff. And by the way, I just won my copyright thing against who was it? BuzzFeed. They actually struck me. All the other people, the 14 interviews I do down at the conference, and the only people to hit me with a strike was BuzzFeed. Go figure. And it wasn't even really a hit piece. It was actually fairly decent. Anyway, if you guys want coast-to-coast stuff, you just email me, say, hey, I want your coast-to-coast interviews. I'll send it through WeTransfer. That's basically it, guys. Thank you, everyone, for emailing. And you know what? Come back next week because I'll be here. same flat time, same flat channel. See you later, guys.